Kukush. Let's see.
Is it one league that's like, you know, like fucking somebody makes a video and it's like carrion golems. This is all you need for carrion golems. And I this is what I did one time. And you know, like that cold iron spike, that fucking, it gives you like +3 to like all physical skill gems. Well, this weapon was like 15 chaos orbs, which is like 15 silver, let's say, in the game. And then it turned into being, I think, like fucking 70 or like 1 exalt, 2 exalts, which is the equivalent of going from like 15 silver to 1 or 2 gold. It like quadrupled in price. It was insane because everybody saw that and everybody was playing it. So it needs to be, oh, it's divine now. Yeah, you're right. Back then it was exalts. It's all about balance. Like, this is a great idea, but balance decides whether this is a good idea or not.
And it's interesting that it's like, to me, it's around adding depth without trying to add too much complexity. You know, you look at the sorceress one with the enchantment system, it's incredibly powerful to have the ability for different skills fire based on what you're doing, whether it's like you're bringing down a blizzard every 10 seconds, or your certain lightning is coming out of you, or those sorts of things, but they're kind of, in a way, a passive ability. I don't have to trigger it. It's triggering based on either a condition or
it's like
based on time.
Yeah.
And similar to the Necromancer's Book of the Dead is allowing you to customize and configure your army. It's not adding complexity necessarily to, oh, I have to worry about how I control differently. And so it makes things richer and more customizable, because now, even if I'm a fire sorceress and you're a fire sorceress, the fact that what we put into our chance slots could make it very different in how we play and how we build upon that. And give
that should matter. That's absolutely, yeah, you should give people you shouldn't, a successful balancing is whenever everybody is able to play multiple things. Somebody in chat said balance is boring. No, it's not. Balance is the opposite of boring, because you can play more than one thing. Everybody who thinks balance is boring is sitting there playing classic World of Warcraft on their Fury Warrior, using the exact same gear as every single other Fury Warrior in the raid. There's 12 of them, and then there's also 12 other rogues doing speed runs with the exact same strat over and over and over. That's what's fucking boring, is whenever some ability or something is so powerful that it just eclipses everything else, and it's so much better that if you're playing competitively or you care about your performance, you either have to make this decision or you're handicapping yourself in a substantial way. No, balance is not boring. I guarantee you it's not. Whenever one thing is better than everything else, you take away choices, because everybody who cares about their performance will feel like they have to go with that choice.
It gives us access to like a couple more skills, which normally you'd be limited by your skill bar. And so that notion of that each class has a way to go deeper into the class fantasy and do it in a way that doesn't mean like, oh, now I have 6 more buttons I have to press or whatever. Like, it keeps it deep and interesting and custom smart, without overwhelming you.
Yeah, I like
that. The skill trees have evolved dramatically over the course of development, I would say.
We're at number 4.
That would make sense.
Many iterations. And a lot of it has come, you know, one of our strategies here has been to like really share as much as we can with the fans as often as we can. So we've gone out with and talked about like,
and everything else, you take away choices, because everybody who cares about their performance will feel.
Come on. Magic. How to play. How to play via Magical. Less than 9 minutes. That is a really long amount of time. Okay, 9 minutes it is. Congratulations, you're the top. Bingo. What?
What's up guys, Dylan here from AYCB, and I'm back with another how to play video, this time for Via Magica, which is a really cool 2 to 6 player game from Paolo Mori, who did one of my favorite games, Ethnos, and I like to describe this game as bingo on steroids. All you can word is not going to use performance enhancing substances when engaging in bingo activities or playing other board games. Now the reason I call it that is because it plays very similar to bingo, as you'll see.
Skip.
To set up Via Magica, first place the 23 Animus tokens in the fabric bag.
Skip.
Portal. So let me explain a little bit better. Let's start with phase 1, capture an Animus. To do this, whoever is the catcher draws an Animus token from the bag and announces which type of Animus it is to the rest of the players. Note that not every Animus spirit has the same amount of tokens in the bag. So whereas Air has 6 tokens in the bag and is the easiest one to draw, Shadow only has a single token in the bag and is the rarest one. There's a handy play area that will remind you how many of each of the Animus spirits there are in the game. Now one thing I should mention is that when you remove tokens from the bag at the start of each turn, you are not putting them back into the bag afterwards. They are staying out of the bag, and so those can't be drawn again, which means you're probably wondering how you get those back in the bag or what you would do when you run out of tokens. Well, anytime you draw a wild token, which is obviously the most valuable token in the bag, there's 2 of them. Anytime you draw one of those, everyone can place a crystal in any spot they want, and then all tokens go back into the bag, and you shuffle the bag up, and you now pass the bag to the next player to the left, and they become the person drawing tokens from the bag. So that's how you can replenish from the bag, but just keep in mind you're not adding tokens back in until a wild token is drawn. Moving on to phase 2, crystallize the Animus. Every player may now take a crystal and add it to a matching spot on one of their portal cards that matches the Animus token that was just drawn. Now the interesting bit here is that you will have a supply of 7 crystals that you can take from to add to your portal cards, but you may also take crystals from other spots that you've already placed them on. So for instance, if you had placed a few crystals on the air token spots on your portal cards, which are a lot easier to come by, and a shadow one was drawn, if you had no crystals in your personal supply, they'd all been placed, you may take one off of an air spot and put it onto a shadow spot because you know it'll be easier to get one back on that air spot later. If you do choose to move a crystal from a previously placed spot, you can do this from an entirely different portal, or you can even take a token that's on a portal and just move it to a different spot on that same portal. Note that you are only allowed to place 1 or move 1 crystal per token drawn. And finally, phase 3 is open the portals, and you will do this only if you've completed all the Animus spots on one of your portal cards, at which point you call out Incantatum, which is the equivalent of bingo in this game, but if you're like me and you struggle to say that word, you can just call out bingo and completely ruin the thematics. If you have completed a portal and are going to open it, the first thing you do is remove all crystals from the portal and return it to the stockpile. Next, it's time to use this portal special effect. I'm going to explain a little bit more about these special effects in the next section, so for now just know that this is where you would use it, but I'll come back to this later. Next, you'll move your portal to your achievements area, which is basically just your completed portal area. Next, it's time to select a new portal from the face-up row of 5 on the table. You will take one of these and add it to your other portals that have not yet been opened. Again, keep in mind you can only use 1 copy of a portal in a game, so if there is another one available that you've already completed, you cannot take it. And finally, replenish the central row of 5 face-up cards back up to 5. Before I get into the final phase and explain claiming the bonus rewards, I just want to mention that if multiple people complete a portal in the same turn, the person who actually gets to open their portal first and therefore gets to claim bonus rewards first is the first person that yells out Incantatum. So if you're like me and you struggle to say it, get used to that a little bit better because the first one to say it at the table is going to get first dibs on everything. Okay, let's talk about the final phase, claiming bonus rewards. You can only claim a reward if you're the first person to meet certain requirements. For instance, there are 5 portal color rewards. If you're the first person to open 3 portals of the same color, you may claim a bonus card. So for instance, if I was the first person to open 3 green portals, I would be able to claim this green portal bonus card, which gets me 6 points. Note that there are not equal quantities of all colors in the deck. So blue is the rarest, whereas yellow is the most common. So gaining the yellow bonus card will only get you 2 bonus points, whereas getting the blue bonus card will get you 10. The 5th portal color bonus card is just for having 1 of each color of portal. So once you have 1 yellow, 1 green, 1 blue, and 1 purple portal open, you may claim that card for 8 bonus points. The other type of bonus cards that you'll see are the ones that are awarded for having a certain number of portals completed, doesn't matter what color they are. So the way that these work is that if I was the first person to reach 3 portals opened, I could claim that card, but here's the caveat. You can only ever claim 1 of these, and you have to claim it at the exact moment that you reach that exact number. So if I were to open my 4th portal and choose not to claim that bonus card because I wanted to go for the 5 or the 6, I can't retroactively go back and claim the 4 if someone gets the 5 and the 6 before me. So you have to choose what your risk and reward here is and how high you want to actually go for before you say, I'm content taking this bonus card and not getting any more. Just keep in mind that the higher the bonus you go for, the more bonus points you will receive. If you claim the card for opening only 2 portals, you'll only get 2 bonus points. Whereas if you wait and claim the one for opening 6 portals, you will get 10 bonus points. And that's basically an entire turn in Via Magica, and you will just keep doing this until one person ends the turn with 7 open portals in their supply. At that point, that triggers the end game. Multiple players can obviously reach 7 or potentially even reach more than 7 that turn, but 7 is the trigger for the end game. At that point, you're just adding up points, and the points come from 2 places. It's the bonus cards that you've claimed, as well as all the portals you've opened are worth a different amount of points. So having said that, I'm going to explain all the bonus rewards that you get, or abilities, I should say, for completing certain portals to give you a bit of an idea of how you can start chaining these together and what these powers actually do. So each
All right.
Here's where our skill trees are in our, in various, like our blog updates and like when we go to show off the game. And we've gotten lots of feedback like, I want to have more choices, or, I want to have lots of other options. And so out of that have come like a number of revisions to the skill tree, both for
Oh, there's going to be revisions to the skill tree every patch. I mean, that's what the patches are for. like personally, I enjoyed playing with like the skill tree in WoW, the new skill tree that they did. I think it's pretty good. Now, are there things that are overpowered and are there going to be meta builds? Yeah, there are. But whenever I was looking at everybody, every single person wasn't playing the exact same thing. And I think that's good.
Making it clear how you can progress through it, making it work for new players, and ways to increase the depth. And that's where we get into the Paragon system, which comes online as you level up and get into the higher levels. And we've really tried to hit that sweet spot where we're providing all of the opportunity for choice while not overwhelming players who are looking at this big map of skills and asking where to start, right?
I love theory crafting. That's one of the things that draws me to these types of games is how do I make a build? How do I set up skills? How do I make things work together? And you want a lot of depth there so that you have a lot of choice, so we're not just making the same build all the time. Like we're both fire sorcerers, so we know exactly what skills we're using.
That's true.
So you want enough choice there that you can kind of customize it, make it feel unique to yourself, but not, there's games where you would go into it and you go like, oh, that's way too complicated. Just go look up a website. Tell me what.
So he played PoE, and that's what he's talking. He's talking about Path of Exile right now. It's not there aren't games out there. He's talking about Path of Exile. And this is true. Like he's absolutely right that there are a number of people that play Path of Exile, and they see the skill tree, and then they open the Atlas tree, and then they open the fucking the Ascendancy, and then they're like, oh, what's this Pantheon thing? And it's like, what's Cluster Gems? Oh, so you can customize the skill tree on top of that. And then, oh wow, there's this other fucking thing, and then there's your Atlas. It's like, oh my god. So yeah, it's extremely complex. But I think that Diablo 4 should not be complex like PoE. And I don't think PoE is bad because it's complex. I think it should be a little bit simpler, to be honest. I think it's too much at this point because like 10 years of development and nuances. I'm really looking forward for PoE 2. But at the same time, I think that Diablo can be that simple game. Like, remember Gauntlet Legends, Gauntlet Dark Legacy? That game was fucking awesome, and it was so simple. It probably had less abilities in it than Diablo does, but it was a fun game. So I don't think that the more complicated the game is, the better the game is. No, this is stupid. I think that if the gameplay is good, Diablo can be the new Gauntlet.
I have to put in, I'll print, the old days, and I'm old enough, I used to print it out and bring it to my thing and go like, okay, put a node here, put a node there, and
I have these in binders downstairs.
I was just making somebody else's build because the way you made a build was so complicated. I couldn't feel like I could own the theory crafting. And that's, I think, a line that we've been walking is trying to make sure that you have lots of choices, both active and passive skills, but is still sort of grokkable that you can go into.
I think it's also that like giving players decisions that like whenever you read what it does, it's understandable. And I think one of the worst examples of something being understandable is more versus increased in Path of Exile. More is a multiplicative scalar, increased is just additive. So let's say you have 700% damage and you have a 10% increase, now you have 710% damage. But if you have 10% more, that's 770%, a bonus of 70% damage. It's fucking massive. So this is not communicated in the game. Now, obviously, you can look this up. You'll figure this out playing the game. But you want to have as few traps as possible like that. You want to have as few things that the player cannot easily test out for themselves and see, oh, I see how this works. Okay, this is less damage. So yeah, it's too much math. Well, it's not too much math. It's just that it's not immediately understandable by a person just by looking at it. What's wrong with traps? Well, because they're not fun. A trap is something that you should learn. Let me think of a way to put this. A trap is something that you should accidentally fall into. If the game puts a trap and you don't know it's a trap and you still fall into it, it's not your fault, it's the game's fault.
Traps can be fun.
Does that make sense?
recraft yourself, and you can still create your own build. And I think as a player, like when I first came to the D4 skill tree, I felt that notion of that, what I talked about with the equation of that progression of D2 is, I really feel the D2 skill tree, that notion of inherited, you know, there's an inheritance there from skill to skill, that you can take certain skills that impact other skills, and so you can kind of build on top of them the way that you used to be able to do in D2. And so I think that's really that notion of that, the richness of the progression that was in D2, I feel that richness in D4.
That's good.
You talked about skills, connecting to other skills and building off of them. That's another area where we've gone through a lot of iteration, right, to make those connections clear. Because you don't have the connection where, you know, a skill is literally below this other skill, and you must take 1 point in this, and then that you saw in D2. But you have all of these sort of natural connections between things like this skill causes bleeding and this skill benefits from bleeding. And so we've built this skill tag system. We've authored this ability to search the skill tags so you can highlight nodes that are...
A lot of games have this. I mean, WoW has this with achievements. Path of Exile has this.
Oh my
related
God!
to that,
Where'd
and
you
so
go?
you can sort of see how these things are interconnected and sort of assist.
No, just side.
That's
Okay.
There's some really cool interactions here to check out.
Yeah, give me all the skills that have bleeding in it, and, or would benefit bleeding, and then you go, oh, okay, I didn't know that one was going to help it.
So you can respec point by point. You can directly in the skill tree for gold, and that gold cost ramps up at some rate as you level up. So as you more clearly define your build and get more things that are associated with it and supporting it, it becomes a little bit more expensive to respec, but still doable. So those choices have meaning. And at the early part of the game, it's very, very inexpensive, very small gold cost. So you feel like, oh, like I'm going to try this skill. Like, oh, I didn't like that skill. I'm going to try this skill.
Like,
oh, that skill looks exciting.
I think that what they should do is they should just make it to where you can respec whenever you want.
Yes.
For free.
Make respecs free.
I think that would be good. I've never seen a value in making it to where you have to spend gold. Like, my experience in a video game has never been improved by not being able to respec easily. For example, in Classic WoW, I didn't play the game as much because I didn't want to respec all the time to play PvP or to play Fury Warrior in PvE or, to play tank or something like that. Like, it's just not fun. It's like conduit energy. See, it's not a meaningful choice to have to just sit there and spend gold on something because you made a bad decision. I think that PoE does this in a bad way too. In my opinion with PoE, I think until you finish the campaign, respecking should be completely free. Like, for new players, it's like, oh, you made a shitty build and your build doesn't work anymore and you're hard stuck in Act 6. Great, well, go respec everything and try something totally different. Every time that Blizzard has tried to go for a meaningful choice in a game,
Guild Wars 1,
all they've done is make the game worse.
Respecking was not only free,
please do not make the game worse for some
was able to make
amorphous,
hundreds, maybe thousands of builds.
Ephemeral idea that nobody can even really nobody can even quantify, nobody can really even explain why it's meaningful that you have these things, because it's not really meaningful. It's number one, it's a video game. Number two, you can respec. It's just a waste of fucking time. Like, stop wasting the player's time. I think that you should be able to respec for free whenever you want.
Preach on.
That's the way I feel about it. But they need systems to delete gold? No, they don't. You just have seasonal resets that happen. And also, if you can't trade gold, the odds are the gold farming in the game won't matter that much. Yeah, no, you don't. It doesn't even make sense. Bad take on this one. No, I understand it. I understand this way better than you do. Trust me. I played a lot of these fucking games. And every single one of these games that I've played Path of Exile for 10 years. I played World of Warcraft for 15 fucking years. I know what I'm talking about, and every single fucking time that you add in some prohibitive respec cost, all you do is make the game worse. You're not doing anything else besides that. Yeah, respec costs just encourage people to use cookie cutters. Yes, and that's actually a really good point, is that if you increase the amount of cost and the amount of the amount of meaningful choice there is in the game, people will be more concerned about making the right meaningful choice, and they won't play the game for themselves. They won't try to figure it out on their own, because if they do it wrong, then they're going to have to pay a bunch of money to undo it. So like, not only do you make a mistake, but now you're being punished for it. So there's just no reason to do this. People defending Goldsing on character customization, we're fucked, pack it up, boys. No, it's just people defend every bad game design decision. It's nothing surprising or nothing special.
Like I said,
yeah, it makes the game more elaborate. Yeah, you can do whatever you want, man.
Made
it's
a new
fine.
spec for whatever I
basically stifle any creativity and experimentation. Exactly. It's totally brain dead to have a respec clause. Yeah, just get rid of it, man. Fucking get rid of it. It makes the game worse. It just makes people feel bad for making bad decisions, and it makes people not want to try things and do experiments. Stupid people defending stupid game decisions. Yes. What a surprise.
From like a really long time ago, and it's just been lingering on.
Don't punish people. Yeah, stop fucking making games that punish people for playing them. It's just so fucking cringe to me. I hate it.
Try this, right? And you can go back and forth really freely. And you can also do full respec at any point as well. So, you know, a lot of as you build out the skill tree, you have things that unlock based on other nodes that you've chosen. So we spent some time making that as smooth as possible, and that's where we ended up in the skill tree itself. Like you know, press one button to...
Yeah, I mean, these are a lot like the Warcraft skill trees. Whenever you really break it down, it seems like they're kind of the same, and it's like, you know, the pick one or the other type thing, sure. Yeah, somebody said, by the way, somebody mentioned that this is an extreme casual take. That's because this is an extreme casual game. Anybody that's not a casual is already playing Path of Exile, Grim Dawn, or something like Undecember. They're already, and they're probably just playing Path of Exile, because that's the best one out. So, yes, of course it's for casuals. No shit.
Just go away.
To buy a skill, and the other button to respawn that skill. So you really are just in that tree, like adjusting where all your points are, and you don't have to like jump out and go to some other menu.
Bro, these guys jump out and go to some other menu. What kind of menu? Like an Atlas menu? Like, yeah, what other, yeah, which other one? What other menu are we talking about? Maybe a, you know, like a, the Divine Spirit menu, or whichever one, like it's not Paragons. I forgot even what they were called. Yeah, it's just so obvious. The heist menu, yeah.
That's one of the things that's really different between D3 and D4 is like D3, once you get to a certain place, the difference between one build to another is like, I gotta go change my clothes. You know, because you're really focused on being set-based or very equipment-based, so that your build is kind of defined by your equipment more than anything else. So you're like, oh, I want to change from fire to ice, let me go change my clothes real quick, right? And it's not necessarily a bad thing, it's a very clear way of doing it, the kind of paper doll model, but one of the goals, the design goals, not to speak for Joe, but like one of the design goals is really to make your build feel inherent to your character.
Let me look at some of these abilities, okay?
Model, but
oh, this is Diablo 3, never mind.
Your build feel inherent to your character. And that's one of the things about the gold cost going up over time is that basically there's going to be a point in time where, I'll make up a number, but like say at level 50, there's going to be a point in time where you go like, oh, I would like to be a different barbarian, but it's too expensive to undo everything I've done. It's actually better for me to roll another barbarian and start a new one and go fresh.
And you think that's good?
And we wanted that notion that like with each level you progress down a character, you're kind of becoming more and more attached to it and getting more and more sort of settled with it, so that you're not just going, okay, I'm level 65.
Why would somebody want to go and replay the campaign they literally just did because of an artificial limitation that you designed? Why would, how would this make any sense?
And now I'm just going to change my clothes and become a completely different barbarian, you know. So cheap in the beginning, so lots of experimentation. Do I like fire? Do I like ice? Do I like lightning? Yes, no, turn it off. And I also love the fact that you can
get... These are terrible.
I can almost guarantee you that the way this game works, the gear is not going to be universal. If you have fire, ice, and lightning, there's probably some sort of fire damage or ice damage that you're going to get. So, and maybe not, But with a lot of these games, there is. So there's going to be secondary effects that are better either way. Redo equals more gold equals more money? No, I don't think that's the case. They'll sell respecs and gold. There is nothing that they have said or done or that has been data mined or leaked that has indicated that in any capacity whatsoever. So for you to say that, you have every right to think that after Diablo Immortal. But you have to acknowledge that by believing that, you are ignoring every single bit of evidence that exists. Yes, this is crazy. Every single bit of evidence has been disputing that. Is this lazy decision to overcome the problem of a respec? Yeah, exactly. What evidence? Okay. The fact that they have made statements multiple times saying that they will not have pay to win in the game.
Oh my gosh.
The fact that they have clarified those statements multiple times saying that they will not have pay to win in the game. The fact that they have responded to multiple comments and critiques, including my own, on Twitter and other resources.
I'm going to stop you here for a second, Asmongold. They specifically said for Diablo Immortal that they will not sell gear. And then they sold gear and changed the name of gear to gems and made a killing off of it. So their statements is useless. It's useless. It's worth zero. Now, they have presented themselves a little bit, that they wouldn't do it. So I am giving them the benefit of the doubt. But my expectation is that they're going to do it. So I'll be pleasantly surprised if they don't. If they do the bare minimal of follow their word, I will be pleasantly happy, pleasantly surprised. You know, just, I'm in the negative, like a -1, -2 right now. And they'll go back up to 0 if they can follow their own word. Now, I'm not going to demonize them. That's the key thing. I'm not going to demonize them until they do it. But my expectation is that they'll do it. All right.
Saying that there will be no way for you to earn player power or buy something on the store that you can sell in the game or anything like that in the game. So this is not something that they said in Diablo Immortal. The truth is that as somebody, this is my job to sit around and listen to this bullshit. The fact is that Diablo Immortal made it intentionally vague what you can buy and what you can't buy in the game. They made very specific statements. They said you cannot buy gear in the game.
Exactly.
You see what I'm saying?
They sold you gear.
But with Diablo 4, they said you cannot buy player power. This is an all-encompassing statement. So Wyatt Cheng, whenever he said that you can't buy gear, he was telling the truth, but it was deceptive. Do you see what I'm saying?
No.
But in this case, unless they just outright lie, which could happen, they can't do that. Do you see kind of what I'm saying? Them selling a respec as a player power? I think that it is. I think that most people would not like that. Overall, and then also there was the data mining. People got the Diablo 4 client. There was different types of surveys that were used, that were leaked, that were shown about like what would you be okay with and not okay with in the Diablo store. And all of these things and all of these points of evidence, none of them have leaked anything about the game being pay to win. Now, I know that there's a lot of people that still think it's going to be pay to win. You still think it will be pay to win. And then when the game comes out and it's not pay to win, you're going to think to yourself, oh, well, they're just waiting to get us on the line, then they're going to make it pay to win.
No.
I do not know how much evidence you need to think that it's not going to be pay to win.
now I feel like you're
And I'm not
strawmanning.
saying, like, for sure it won't be. But I think that with every single bit of evidence that they have showed and shared that has been also shared, keep in mind, without their consent and, more importantly, against their consent, with like people breaking NDAs, not a single thing has come out about this game being pay to win. Not a single fucking one.
Yeah, but selling resets is not pay to win. It
As
doesn't
people
matter if
dying
you
on this
think
hill?
it is. The
Well, then
majority of the
stop trying to
population
kill
don't
me
think
on it
is,
because
so
I'm
it's
fucking right.
irrelevant.
I'm fucking right.
It's irrelevant.
Yeah.
You're
Of
saying you're
course
right
it's
about
yet.
the wrong thing.
Yeah, I'm right.
About the wrong thing.
Listen, no, you're not. Yes, I am. Absolutely. See, this is the thing, is that I've watched all of these videos. I've seen all of the fucking data mining shit. I've seen all of it. And people are like, no, it's going to be pay to win. So you think it's not? It is. Yeah, it's going to be pay to win. 100%. You know it, I know it, everybody knows it. Clip it so
That's
you
the
can record in 6
reputation
months after
Blizzard
the
has
game comes
built
out.
up. That's
Why
Blizzard
would I be
who did
stupid
this.
to think this? If the game becomes pay to win in 6 months or a year whenever the game comes out, I'm not stupid because I thought the game wasn't going to be pay to win whenever there was no reason to think that it was going to be pay to win. There's having an opinion based off of impartial evidence, and then having that opinion is, oh, this is what's going to happen, and then something new happens. It doesn't mean that you're stupid for thinking the first thing.
The difference is that they've already done this before, multiple times.
Oh my God! Some people are so fucking stupid. It's sad.
Yes, and you're acting stupid.
Let's see if there's any actual good comments about this. Okay? No, you'll just be wrong. Being wrong doesn't make you stupid. Being wrong about something whenever new evidence is presented is not the same as being wrong about it at the time that you said it. You're stupid for believing in Blizzard still? That's fine. I've said this before. If you think that the game is pay to win, you are totally entitled to that opinion. But you have to acknowledge, if you believe that it is pay to win, that you have actively discarded all evidence.
No. It's not that we discarded the evidence. It's that we're looking at the evidence as well. We're looking at their track history. They have done this before. They will probably do it again. That's the evidence we're holding on to. If you want to say they haven't said anything, or they said that they wouldn't, well, they said that they wouldn't before, and you're like, oh, they got us because, you know, technically they said A, and it was kind of like 8.B, 8.5. So it's not that we're discarding evidence. Is that we're on the point right now where they need to prove to us that they are not going to do it. So if they release the game with no pay to win elements, then great. But until they release the game, until they've shown us that they 100% released the game and there's no pay to win, it is in our right to believe that they're going to betray us again. They're going to make it pay to win again.
You have discarded all evidence, all information, everything to come to this conclusion.
Incorrect.
So yes, you can believe it's pay to win if you take in no evidence.
No.
Game companies have lied about this kind of thing before, but you're probably right. Of course they have lied, and there is a chance that Blizzard could lie. But expecting everybody to lie
we're not expecting everybody to lie. We're expecting the liars to lie. That's the difference. If what's it called? From Software, the makers of Elden Ring, Armored Core, Demon Souls, Dark Souls. If Dark Souls announces a new game, they're working on it for like a year or whatever, and they're announcing it. We're not going to expect it to be pay to win because they don't have a track history of making stuff pay to win. Blizzard has made a track history of making stuff pay to win, and they have made a track history about lying about it. So we're not expecting everyone to lie. We're expecting the liars to lie again. And again, it's our expectation. If they release Diablo and there's 0 pay to win, then amazing. Next game you make, we'll also expect it for you guys to follow your words, which is not much. But because, and this is, I took this directly from Josh Triface. I'll be upfront about this. Josh Triface says, we expect you to do better. And if they do better, then we will reward them. We reward you. You can't just be like, oh, do better, and then they do better, and they're just like, yeah, but remember the time you didn't do better. No. If they release Diablo 4 and there's 0 pay to win, then great. My expectation of them will rise. My expectation of them will rise from the -2 that it currently is to like the 0. And eventually might even reach like a +2 that like From Software or whatever is at. But expecting liars to lie is not denying evidence.
Same as expecting them all to tell the truth every single time, even despite other evidence. I think we should just wait to see what's going to happen, but there's no indication that the game is going to be pay to win. What are you talking about? There's plenty. Okay, oh, here we go. Bro, what are you talking about? There's plenty of evidence like previous games.
Yeah. You can look stupid all you want, but it's part of their
history. So if Blizzard does one thing in one game... So let me get this straight. So do you think, under that logic, that there's evidence in other games, if somebody told you that there's going to be a gem system in Overwatch 2 that makes Widowmaker's gun, if you have a 5-star gem, auto-aim for you during her ultimate... Does that mean that it's just categorically true because they did this in Diablo Immortal, so they must be doing it in Overwatch?
Dude, that's
it's just close. So stupid.
Yeah, this argument you're making is stupid.
I can't imagine being so fucking stupid to think like this.
Your argument is stupid. God damn, that was beyond, what's it called? Straw manning.
It's
Holy
sad.
Holy crap. That was the worst strawman I have ever heard.
Skills through equipment that
Jesus
you can
Christ.
access the skills before maybe you would even be able to from a level perspective and go, oh, I picked up this skill on my sword or my boots and I'm going to go try it out and see if I like it or
pay
not.
To win, well,
so I love that
Overwatch
ability to go in and buy a skill and feel no regret in paying for it with in-game gold to get rid of it. But then, wow, once you get up there, you're level 90, you're going like, I think I'm just going to, I think I'm not going to try to spend a million, whatever it's going to be to undo all these skills. So I love that sort of sense of, hardening cement. It's like over time, there's a sense of permanence that starts to happen the further deeper you go into that character.
Yeah, I think that's bullshit. I think that's complete fucking bullshit. There's no reason that you need to harden the cement of the character. This is a pointless metaphor that you invent a gem system in Overwatch.
You can access the skills before maybe you would even be able to from a level perspective and go, oh, I picked up this skill on my sword or my boots and I'm going to go try it out and see if I like it or not. So I love that ability to go in and buy a skill and feel no regret in paying for it with in-game gold to get rid of it. But then, wow, once you get up there, you're level 90, you're going like, I think I'm just going to, I think I'm not going to try to spend a million, whatever it's going to be to undo all these skills. So I love that sort of sense of hardening cement. It's like over time, there's a sense of permanence that starts to happen the further deeper you go into that character.
That's the opposite.
Yeah, I think that's bullshit.
The more I play a character, the less I want to play the exact same character. The more I want to diversify. So it's the opposite. The cement doesn't get harder, the cement gets wetter. That is so bad. Oh my god. Gotta fire that guy.
I think that's complete fucking bullshit.
That was terrible.
There's no reason that you need to harden the cement of the character. This is a pointless metaphor that you invented in your mind that will end up wasting players collectively thousands of hours. Stop it.
Agreed.
You're not making the game better by making it take longer. You're not making the game better by making people roll 2 barbarians. It is so fucking dumb. Like, am I crazy here? I think this is so stupid,
No,
man.
it's basic.
That's the point of view of a designer and not a player. Well, you've got to
Not
remember
even a
who the
designer
audience
thinks
is.
like that.
The
point of view for
audience is,
dumbass, my
I mean,
opinion.
like, listen, this is what happened with Covenants. Yeah, this is ridiculous, man. 5x Berserker, surprised? Yeah, I think it's stupid. I am actually surprised that they're doubling down, not doubling down on this. They haven't really talked about it a lot. But that they're going down this meaningful choice fucking road again because they just failed at that with WoW. They spent an entire expansion failing at that. They spent the entire previous expansion failing at that. And the one before that, they were failing at it with the legendaries. So how is it that you fail at something in your, this is probably World of Warcraft is the closest analogy that you're going to have to Diablo 4. Probably somewhere at Diablo 3 as well too. But World of Warcraft is obviously getting worked on much more than Diablo 3. It's hard to know really what their design goals are with Diablo 3 now that like nothing happens in the game. Other than like them, oh, now this thing does 8,000% damage instead of 400% damage. So now it's the meta. So that's the thing, is that they failed at this every single fucking time. And again, even if you don't take into context of the failing of every single fucking time, you also just have to look at it objectively.
Wait. Are you making an arguments based on their previous history, sir? You know, the thing you just called people out on for being bullshit? And now you're using the same argument?
My experience as a player will not be improved if I have to level a second barbarian to play another build.
1,000,000%.
Period.
Concur.
I don't want to do it. I don't think it's fun. It's not, it's repetitive. It's punishing. It's boring.
It's
It's
just
slow.
garbage.
There's no upside to this.
It's just garbage.
If you
Garbage
play
to the
Diablo
left,
2, you
garbage
know
to
that
the
creating
right,
new
garbage
characters
to
is not
the
a big
center.
deal, unlike in WoW, completely different. If it's not a big deal, then why do you have to do it? So everybody will play copy pasta characters? Yes, they will, because they don't want to make their own character and then have to make another one later. It's a strange decision, yeah. It's so dumb, man. I don't understand it at all. It's literally just a time waster. Yeah, it's so stupid. I mean, same thing happens in PoE. Yeah, and I think that how many people... Like, how many people do you think played PoE and then put their own talents in, and then they got bricked at, like, Kitava, or, you know, realistically probably Act 6 because the resistances went down a lot, and then they just quit the game because they didn't want to respec. They looked it up, they're like, oh, this is going to take a lot of orbs of regret, I can't afford this, like, I don't want to do it anymore. Yeah. That's horrible. PoE is not fun to replay the axe. Diablo 2 was. Oh, bad comparison. So you think that you think my comparison was bad because of your subjective decision? Because there's a lot of people that like replaying the axe in PoE. So your subjective evaluation on if the axe are fun to play or not is why the system is good? It doesn't make any sense.
Whitest thing you said all day. That's the end of the video. Okay. All right. Never mind. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to on testing and its live service plans. Wait a second. What's this here? When did this come out? Did I see this? This came out 2 fucking days ago. Holy shit. Okay. Well, we're going to watch another one of these and then we'll watch something else after that. There's apparently a lot of Diablo 4 content. So this is good. We've got a lot of stuff to look at. So. This enforces video too. Yeah, I'll just watch it. I mean, it's personal. Yeah, I just don't like repeating it. Specifically, standard is there for folks that don't want to level. All I'm saying is that I think that making a player re-level over and over and over
is just simply not, this is not fun. And also, if you contextualize this around the fact that Diablo 4 is supposed to be a casual game. Like, I feel like is it stated that it's supposed to be a casual game? No, but it's kind of implied with how many times they say, oh, you don't have to go to a bunch of menus or look at a bunch of stuff. I think the idea is for Diablo 4 to be simpler and easier to get into. And they mention this multiple times with like not having a bunch of abilities, being able to customize them, etc. So why is it that you're adding something that is casual, unfriendly? I don't understand it.
It's a good argument.
Some developers hate
like
the fact that you can see someone's build and just copy it in a few seconds. Yeah, but that doesn't stop you from making a new character and copying it every step of the way. PoE should have proven that endgame is what makes people invested. Why are developers make the grind early and the story so important? I don't understand. You can still reset with gold. You shouldn't have to reset with anything. And if it just costs more gold and then it's harder to respec later on, I think that this is just a prohibitive cost that makes the game worse and adds no gameplay and just punishes casual players and people for trying to try different things in their own game because they're having fun with it and they want to try something new.
Exactly.
There's no logic to this. It's just a stupid decision that I think that the only reason why people are okay with it is because the games have always been like this. That like, oh, well, it's 50 gold to respec. Why? It doesn't make sense. This mindset is stupid. I think it is too. Yeah, absolutely. They fixed this in PoE 2, which shows that they recognize it's a shit mechanic. Yeah, I hate respecs. Gold sync. It's number one, it's not an MMO. Number two, with the types of trading that you have, gold sinks are not necessary. Number three, if you have a seasonal system, the economy will not last long enough for the gold inflation to be so high that it will be problematic. Also, you can always just readjust the amount of gold that could even exist in the economy in the first place for the gold sinks to not matter. It's just it's so dumb. I don't understand how people try to make sense out of something that's so fucking stupid, man. Oh my god. Let's see here. The base of it is to remove respec to the situation at hand. Most people don't do that. Most people aren't going...
Like, the idea that the game needs a gold sink just means that the gold generation of the game hasn't been properly balanced. Also, like, there are better ways to make gold sinks than this. You don't want your gold sinks to be stuff that hamper gameplay. You want your gold sinks to be stuff that really don't interfere with gameplay. The number one best gold sink, in my opinion, of all time is the auction house. You just put like a 5-10% tax on every a deal. People always heavily use the auction house, and by default, you're just deleting 10% of the money inside the game just over time. The other important thing that people don't realize is that you not only need a gold sink, you need an item sink. So like as you go farming wood or whatever, wood becomes super common and the value of wood drops, right? You have 10,000 people farming wood. The wood goes from being like 10 gold to like a quarter of a gold to being essentially worthless. Like you can buy 1,000 of them in the market for a single gold. So item sinks are extremely important. But what people don't really understand about item sinks, excuse me, okay, goodbye, is a simple item sink where it's just like, oh, this requires 100 wood or whatever to make this item. That's technically an item sink, but that's like the worst way to make an item sink. There's something called a Dutch clock, and this is an actual clock in the real world, that basically it's like an auction system. There's a giant clock in the center of the room, and all the auctioneers are around the room. And the price of whatever good goes down over time. So for a minute, it's like 50 gold, and you wait another minute, it's 49 gold, and you wait another minute, it's 48 gold. But there's 100 people buying at the same time. And people can buy the thing at any point. So It goes down to 50 gold. Nobody wants to pay 50 gold. It goes down to 49 gold. Nobody wants to pay 49 gold. It goes down to 48 gold. You're like, maybe I'm willing to pay 48 gold. But you know what? That guy over there wasn't in his maybe anymore. That guy was like, I'm going to buy it at 48. Boom. He buys it at 48. And guess what? It goes back up to 49. And then it waits a minute. It goes back to 48. And then if, somebody buys it at 49, it goes up to 50. If someone buys it at 50, it goes to 51. So the price is constantly changing based on demand. Now, here's where the gold sink comes in. Well, not only, you're going to tax the people, but, here's where the item sink comes in. You put a floor. So this wood has to always cost at least 20 gold. And if it hits 20 gold, nobody buys it, guess what? Some of that wood is deleted, completely removed from the game. Just gone. Yeah, gone. And wait another minute, some more of that wood is gone. And then you're thinking like, well, what am I doing? All right, let's find the quest to do. So you're thinking like people aren't going to sell to the auction house. So let's remove the idea of selling to NPCs completely. We'll put all NPC sales goes directly to the auction house. You find a random mook in the middle of the woods who's willing to buy your stuff, go straight to the auction house. Now, if it's an item that's just trash, like I don't know, like I don't want to say wolf pelt because wolf pelt sounds like it's useful. We'll literally call it junk because it's irrelevant for the argument. So you find some junk, and the designers want that junk to just be a source of money that is not, actual money. So you keep inside the immersion of the game. So that wolf isn't carrying 15 gold. That wolf is carrying some junk that you can sell for 15 gold or for 15 copper, whatever. That stuff doesn't go to the auction house. That stuff is just deleted. You get your money. But those should be decently rare. You should not be able to make a especially large amount of profit by, killing wolves all day, making 15 copper per wolf. Most of your profits should come from trade goods, like you would actually expect from an economy. What am I doing? I honestly don't know what I'm doing in this game anymore. Like, I know I gotta get to 45. I gotta do this quest for the event. So what is this quest? Complete the pre-dawn nights. I have no idea what the fuck that is. I'm gonna Google it. Pre-dawn nights. Okay. So it's just complete the main storyline like crazy. Excellent. So, a 4-star character that would be really good for like a beginner like me. For me to get this 4-star character, I basically need to have completed the main storyline up until almost the very end. Way to design your fucking game, you piece of shits. Like, this should not require 4 stars. This should be early game stuff so that a new player has access to this. This is anti-new player. I'm a little upset right now. Oh wait. It's saying it's the chapter. It's the chapter 3.2. So it's basically this chapter. I need to complete this chapter or be in this chapter for me to be able to get the starter character. Right. I love it. 10 out of 10 design. Reward, punish the new players. It's what everybody's asking for. New player punishments. All right, where's Asmund Gold? There we go.
Going to go through and respec their character every time they fight a new boss. It's not going to happen for casual players. This is something for like hardcore sweaties to do. And even the hardcore sweaties probably aren't going to do that. Do you know why? Because they're going to have a meta build that can do everything by itself, and they'll have gear good enough to do it without having to respec. Because if you're respecing, that takes time. Clicking all those buttons takes time.
It's just not fun.
It's just so stupid. Anyway, let's go ahead and let's watch this other one here.
In Guild Wars 1, you're able to not only respec your build at any time, you're able to minor respec it. So you have 14 points in strength. There's a little down arrow. You click the little down arrow, you're now at 13 points in strength, and you get your points back, and you can immediately spend it to increase something else. You can increase your sword master or whatever. Why don't we have that? And you know what? They had a little save button. You save that build. It saves your stat points, and it saves all your skills you had up with that ability. It saves your entire skill bar. It loads up your entire skill bar. One click. Maybe I want to play a sword person right now. Maybe I want to play a wizard later. Maybe I want to play a mesmer later. Or illusionist later. One click. It wasn't difficult.
Overall, I think the interview was a W interview. The respec thing was fucking stupid, but everything else was fine. Holistic approach to testing live service points. Okay, here we go.
Never mind that.
I think it's really interesting, like one of the things coming to Blizzard and coming to the Diablo team and seeing a lot of the kind of way that they do testing. There's a phrase that's used a lot around soup tasting, which is this notion of, we're going to put it together, but you always have to taste the soup, and does it need more salt? Does it need more flavor? Did we do too much of something or not enough of another?
You can't eat this soup standing up, your knees buckle.
And this is probably, I've been making games for like 22 years now, and this D4 is the game that I felt like has been more holistically tested than any other game I've been a part of, because it's really part of the philosophy of Blizzard and of this team in particular, to be able to go in and be able to go, okay, we can play from beginning to end, let's play. And so whether that's, the whole team is getting the ability to bring the full game at home over Christmas to play it and give feedback. And then the notion of we're going to allow the entire company at Blizzard to go and play it and give feedback. And now we're going to allow all of ABK to go play it and give feedback. We just went through Friends and Family, which is all of ABK plus their friends and family to go play it and give feedback on the full game. And now we're going into endgame beta, which is going to be even more, because we went out and looked at who are people who are in.
I think this is probably true based off of the fact that they've had so many leaks. Yeah, I think this is actually true, because whenever you compare the amount of leaks with this game versus the amount of leaks with like Overwatch 2 or any of the Warcraft expansions, Diablo 4 has had infinitely more leaks. So it's probably because they gave it out to infinitely more people. It just makes sense.
Engaging with the previous Diablo games and sort of the rich endgame systems that are there, and we want to hear what they think of D4. And then we're going to be going into open beta, next year, where we're going to be,
People in that screenshot were doing 86 billion damage, and I'm just wondering, like, what the hell? How is that even contextualized? Like, at that point, it doesn't even feel real anymore. Like, the damage you're dealing doesn't feel real anymore. It's dumb.
Trying to crush our servers and trying to get as much feedback as we can there. And so all along, as part of this iteration, and on top of that, we're doing global insights and user research, and we're doing surveys and bringing people in for user testing. So a lot of this iteration is not just us sitting alone in our offices coming up with a new idea. It's born out of feedback from the blogs, feedback from people playing, whether it be on the team, to the company, to friends and family, to there's just a lot of inputs into it, and it's really, I think you can see that if you've been part of it over the last few years, you can see that iteration and refinement happen because of those tests.
Yeah, you mentioned endgame beta. This is one of the first times that we've...
That's what really matters, is the end game. Because the campaign is only going to last for a small period of time. most players will probably get through the campaign. And if the end game can't retain them, then the game's dead. That's the problem with Diablo 3, is the end game is just terrible. Now, the campaign matters because if the campaign is really bad, they'll never make it to the end game. But I think the end game is really what's going to make a big difference.
Tested like how to
he's
test
not
specifically
wrong, but
for
also
the
like
end game.
I hate that
and the
take.
reason we think
I
it's
care
really
a lot
important is
about the
because,
campaign.
You know, we talked about
And
how
don't get me wrong,
Diablo
I
4
did
is a
progression
service,
rating
how
World of
we have
Warcraft.
really exciting things to come with seasons.
I was
how they're gonna be
server
really,
second, which
big
is
and crunchy and
ass to
meaningful.
admit.
Yeah,
but
seasons
yes.
have to be very
Server
transformative.
second.
Like the Path of Exile
The
seasons are
people who were
extremely
server first
transformative,
finished
sometimes
same
too
day
much
as
so.
we did. Same day as we did. But their raid started at 6 p.m. Our raid started at 8 p.m. So they finished about a half hour faster than we did. But yeah, I did progression rating. I got server second on so many raids. And even then, I would say, I think the campaign is more important, more interesting than the end-game rating. Maybe it's a personal thing, but I want end-game rating to be good, but it's not as important for me, I suppose, is what I'm trying to say. Hell just happened. When hit by explosion or blunt frost trauma, they cause resonant quake. That's kind of cool. So keep talking.
So, you know, it's really important, not just to support that, but also because we know that we have so many players who enjoy playing Diablo for, you know, way past the campaign, really getting into the end game systems. And so
I didn't even
this
click
gives
that.
us an opportunity to,
This,
you know, test the end
resonant
game
thing?
systems before we get to launch, and then make adjustments.
Oh my God, let me go.
Through the D2R
I don't even know what you're trying to show
so this
me.
will give us an opportunity to sort of test where we are with that early enough before release that we can make.
This is smart and a good idea. I think that this is the mistake that they made in Diablo 3. If you guys ever remember back in Diablo 3, I was there in the Diablo 3 beta that only was up to Leoric. And guess what? Act 1 was fucking flawless. And then the second that you stepped into those fucking sands, you had the wasps that shot the mini-wasps, and the mini-wasps disappeared randomly, and then they would hit your character and you would die. So they need to test a bunch of other stuff. They can't just have it where, okay, well, the game is, it's decent where it's at now, and we're just gonna, you know, hopefully the rest of it is gonna be fine. No, they should test everything. Act 1 was buggy too, just less buggy. It was so much less buggy that the way I remember it is that it wasn't buggy at all, okay? That's how bad Act 2, 3, and 4 were.
Some small adjustments to endgame systems and really make sure that when the game comes out and players finish the campaign, there's some content there that has had some testing against it and had some adjustments made, so they're not beta testing it at launch.
Yeah, I mean, Diablo.
Yeah, imagine that, right? I mean, that would be crazy if that happened. You know, wouldn't that be just really funny? Yeah. So anyway, last time that happened, I feel like Path of Exile has set the bar for what seasons are in an ARPG. So I really hope that the Diablo 4 season is not, we are rebalancing the set bonuses of all of the class sets. So the class set that was good last league isn't good this league.
My idea worked.
To do what? The same thing? I don't know about that. And that's what I'm worried about, is that I'm worried that the seasons will not have, like every single PoE season brings in, like pretty much every single one brings in new bosses. It brings in a new system, a new mechanic, something like that that is transformative to the game. It has to happen.
Well, it's a systems game, right? That's what we talk about. Like, you know, look at my experience with D3. I played D3 for hundreds of hours, like literally hundreds of hours, and I've played the campaign in D3 probably twice.
Stay a while and listen.
And so that notion of like, yeah, it has to be a kick-ass campaign. You have to have great context and great story, know what it is, why the world is the way it is, and set it all up. But you're unleashing players after they complete the campaign. You're unleashing them into a game that hopefully will entertain them for thousands of hours. And so in the past, we really haven't had that opportunity for people just to go into it and say, okay, this is the starting point, because this is certainly not the end. This is not where, like, this is the beginning.
Yeah, the campaign has to be good. Effectively, that's what he's saying, right? Campaign has to be good. It has to be fun. Because if the campaign sucks, people aren't even going to make it to the end of the game. Like, I am not a fan of, oh, the game gets good after. No, it has to be good immediately.
Yep.
Where this live service becomes.
That's what I was saying earlier.
1,000 hours starts, not where it ends.
The end game does not
but we want it
interest
to be
me
to
if
feel
the
rich, because we're
early game
going to
is
have
bad.
seasons, and you're going to have seasons that are going to change up the game, and so
It's
there'll be
lit.
lots of stuff to add incrementally as we go. But
There'll
you want
be
to
new
know that when
bosses.
that person finishes the campaign, that they immediately have something really cool to go and do, and start to engage with the systems even more fully as they work their way to beat that level 100 boss.
On up to four seasons, I think 3 to 4 seasons a year is fine. 2 is probably too few seasons. I think 3 to 4 is fine.
We've been trying to be a little cagey, just because, you know, one of the things that we're still working through is when you work on a live service, the notion of what you want and when you want it, the pressure starts to change.
I want my loot
because
and I want
you know,
it
when
now.
you're building a game like we are now, there's really a lot of focus is on what you want, like what's the right game and how do we get the right quality and all the features that we want to have. And so, you know, we set our date based on making sure we can get what we
Excuse
want
me,
to
sir.
be considered what D4 should be. But when you start that train of now we're a service and people are expecting seasons, where you, I think, succeed on players' minds is having consistency to know, oh, every 3 months there's a new season coming. And so if you go like, well, my ambition is I want to do a little more here, so it's actually going to be 3 months and 3 weeks, and then you start to lose that promise to the player, and they don't know when to predict or how to think about it. And
I think that if it's an extra couple of weeks or even an extra month for the season, this is not a big deal as long as the next season is good. I think a really good example of that is Internet Historian. There are people that upload every single day, and there are people who are like Internet Historian who upload, I don't know, probably less often than Diablo 4 is going to make seasons. But it doesn't matter how long it takes, because when the next one comes out,
It's good.
it's really fucking good. And that's what matters.
I can't see crap that's happening.
It's better to take it slow and release a good season than just pop one out and release an L.
so our intention is to have
what you're saying
a heart
is
and
right.
mind to have a
But
cadence
you know what's
that
even better?
players can rely on.
I'm sorry.
Both from a season perspective and from
Make
an
a
expansion perspective.
really good
And
season.
so that's something
not
we're
the
working
best
for.
one
So
ever. Just make
as
a
we,
really good
you
one.
know, we're still in the finishing
that
touches
is
of
correctly
development,
on
we're still
time.
working through that. How do you
And
build
then,
a season to ensure
like,
that you can
also
deliver
make
it in
the
a
good
timely
one.
way with the right scope and
The
quality?
amazing one
Yeah.
that they were working
That's
on.
why you're hearing a little softer language and saying
Because
it's definitely every 3
expectations
months.
change over time.
That's smart. That's smart. They should not tie themselves to the seasons will be at this time in this way
Right.
every single.
So, if expectations build up as things take longer, if I make a video every week, and I make an expectation of releasing a video every week, and then I tell my audience, like, this week I'm not going to release a video because I'm making something amazing. It's going to be great. It's going to be a better video, and I need 2 weeks. and then I release it 2 weeks, 3 weeks later, and it's garbage. It's as this either same quality or worse than my previous videos. That's a much bigger L. Now, admittedly, he said make it amazing, but what I'm saying is, they are a massive company, a big company. What they should have is 2 teams. One that works on the next season properly, and it is their job to get it done on time every time. And 2, a second team, potentially part of the first team as well, who is working on the season after that to make it even more amazing. So that the season 1, for example, would have 3 months to be worked on, and the season 2 would have 6 months to be worked on, and season 3 would have 9 months to be worked on. Like, make additional teams. You guys have the money for this. And it's not a difficult concept. And even if it's like the 9 months thing is a bit exaggerated, the having more than 3 months isn't. Having 4, 5, 6 months because you started working earlier on the one that comes after is just basic concept for a large company. Like this should not be mind-blowing for anybody. All right, back to where we were. Where are the little babies at? Hey, little babies. Wow, these guys are full health? What? I did so much damage. What are you talking about, game? I hate it when this garbage resets because of the terrain is all buggy. Oh my gosh, stand still. You're not even hitting me. Are they still at full health? Because it feels like they are. Kablooey. Alright. Elemental Mastery is overpowered. Bloom is overpowered. Dendro's overpowered. Like, I have put 0 effort in making my Bloom Dendro explosion work. 0 effort, and it just does 3 to 4 times more damage than the things I have put effort into trying to make good. It is not even close to being balanced. Like, what the crap? This isn't just my opinion. I've seen other people say that physical attacks are severely underpowered, but honestly, it's probably that the elemental mastery attacks are slightly overpowered. You gotta come at it from both directions. And there's the whole concept of like, oh, but I don't want to see the thing I like playing being nerfed. You know what? All right. We'll coddle you. We'll coddle you because you're afraid of nerf. So what we'll do is we'll increase the health of every enemy by like 20%. I don't know if that's a good number or not, but it's an example number. So we'll increase their health by 20%, and we'll increase the damage of physical attacks by 30%, 40%, 50%, whatever it's necessary to buff physical damage. So if you know math, you will then realize that your build has been nerfed. But if you don't know math, you'll just assume that it hasn't. You'll just be like, oh no, they didn't nerf me. They just buffed physical damage. Totally. I want to get to this light bulb thing. Oh my god, I did not just make that pin. I wish that making pins was a separate button. That's all I'm going to say. It's not a very difficult thing to say. How's it going? Hello, mister. Sorry, I was watching what's his name? Asmongold, so I did not pay attention. Hello, Julian. I don't know if you're still in the stream or not, but if you are, hello. And once again I apologize. If you respond, I will respond more. Otherwise, I am going to I'll split screen this so that I can
Yes,
watch
this is smart.
Asmongold.
But I think
And
when you look
see
at
the chat.
historically what has
And
happened,
something I
with
should have
those
done
sorts of
sooner.
things is generally quarterly seasons is where it feels good.
You were
from a
basically the
developer
casualty to
perspective.
my
So I would say like up to
initial
4,
laziness,
but
and I
we're trying to
apologize,
allow
my friend.
ourselves a little leeway, especially coming.
Yeah, it's up to 4. I feel like realistically they're not going to do more than 4. I think 5 is too many, realistically. Yeah, and also like Internet Historian is just one example. You've got Barney, Seth, Uber Danger. Let's see. There's probably another one if I can think of it. Pint. Yeah, I mean those are some of them that we watch all the time. So yeah, it doesn't matter how long it takes. If the next one is good, that's all that matters. Pint has a new video. I know. I've got to watch it. I know. I'm actually very far behind in my reacts. So I apologize, guys. I'll try to.
Well, I think
after I get to 60
right
in New World, and I'm kind of on an even keel there. I'll do more reacts. You know, instead of just only 2 or 3 hours of reacts. I feel like we never have enough time.
Transition from shipping
I am
the
definitely
game
falling through the floor.
to transitioning
Holy
into a live
crap, this
service
game is lagging.
is one of the hardest transitions, I think,
it's,
because
again,
you have a
not the
team that's
internet.
just
I
come
have
off
very fast
shipping
internet.
a game.
It's my RAM.
There's an immediate
My
demand
RAM
for making
cannot
sure that
handle
you're
this, and I
ahead of the
have
game
way
for live,
too many
for
windows
more
open right
content
now.
that's ready to go. And there's always this pressure to pull from that content, those people to come and work on the main game. It's like, why are you over there? I could use you over here.
Look at this.
Yeah.
So that
Going
transition
straight
from
through the
game
ground.
to service is a
care
really tricky
not.
part of that development. And so that's kind of why you hear a little bit of softer language until we get through that transition, and then that language will harden quite a bit.
The design of
Makes
D3
sense.
seasons is certainly a foundational element for us here.
I hope not. The Diablo 3 seasons are fucking boring.
Well,
You know, one of the really cool things about D3
We're
seasons
making
is that you
it.
get a fresh start with every season. You know, you get the
Why was having to level your character again a cool thing?
opportunity to try, you know, if we're talking about how
You know what?
different all
That's
the
a good
classes
point.
are, you get to try a different class
What?
or try a different build per class and try it in an environment where
I would
there are
love a
changes
fresh
to the
start
meta
server in
or
which
other
you just start
changes.
at max
and where we
level.
see that
That's all
going
I'm
with
gonna say.
Diablo 4 is not just changes that we can do.
It's a fresh start, max
Rob spoke
level.
About,
Let's
you know,
race to
having
something else.
a team
Let's
of
race
people who
to
are
be
working on it,
server.
so it's
well,
not just
well, yeah,
changes that we
server
can
first
do,
for that one.
to
You
the
just
meta,
start at
but
max level, you
also
skip the campaign.
additional features that can come in.
Yes. Yes.
With seasons and really making them
Transformative. Make them transformative, different, new, exciting. Make playing season 7 different than playing season 6.
All right.
It was also different than
Let's
playing
see.
season 5.
We're gonna try to focus on
change
getting
up the gameplay of Diablo in
teleports.
meaningful ways.
Yes.
and
This is
exciting
good to hear.
ways And having exciting new things.
This is
like that.
great to hear.
So,
Yeah, what I love
Oh,
about
there you
seasons
go.
too is it allows you to test things and try things. And so if something's working, you know,
Finding
as opposed
teleports
to,
gives 50
oh, we're only
experience, and
delivering
that's
a
all we
game
care about
every
right now.
X
'Cause we're trying to
years,
reach
and
45, so
you
we
don't
can
have
start
the ability
getting
to sort of refine and iterate over
drops.
time.
That's
So
true.
basically.
we can try a thing in seasons and go,
just gonna
hey, what do we
teleport
think
back
about
here.
this? And people go, oh, this is my new favorite thing in in-game, that this thing you, and we're like, oh, really? Okay, well, we're going to keep it now, and we're going to go and do something else. Or
Yes. So, I don't know, is it maybe like whenever something goes core in PoE, right?
There
I
we
mean,
go.
all
That's
you
it.
need to do is just do the exact same thing. Everybody like Delve went core. Remember whenever Synthesis
My
came
back
out?
is hurting like crazy.
Fuck that. Nope.
Let's do some
That
exercise.
was gone.
oh, we can refine things.
Oh, look at
that
all those
maybe,
rocks
you know,
down
like,
there.
It just allows
We're
us to
asking
play a
Marvin that
little
crap.
bit more. But I love like what I think brings a lot of people back for
Here we
D3
go.
is that fresh start that Joe
rocks
talked
down
about,
here.
that notion of, oh, you've changed the meta,
so
and I
close.
want to kind of go and experience that progression again, but maybe as a different class or with the same class with a different build, because there's new skills or new legendaries or new ways to experience the game. And I think that's going to be a big part of our season sort of thinking as well, is like, okay, like how can I come back and revisit this and play it in a different way, in a different class with new features and new content.
You know what'd be really cool?
New features and new content. Let's focus more on that than replaying the fucking camp.
You know what would be really cool? If the campaign was different with every season. No, it doesn't have to be completely different. Just like some major points change each time. I know it will make it kind of like impossible for them to have like a consistent storyline, but it also gives them the ability to potentially make new storylines, like explore different storylines. And considering how big budget Blizzard is, I fully think they can knock out of the park a 3-month storyline, like a 3-month campaign. Like this does not seem like it would be an impossible challenge for them, but I think it would be really interesting to try. All right, we'll hit play again as soon as I can see the. Where am I? Oh. Okay, we gotta pivot a little bit more right. Is it high up? Please don't let it be high up. Maybe it's by that shack over there. Yep, we're just gonna pivot so we can see above us. That's why we have the camera so extremely pivoted right now. Let's just climb up on this hill. It says it's below us, but I'm pretty sure it's behind this wall. Let's regain our energy. It's fine. Okay, come on, come on, come on. Climb up. See what's behind this wall. Oh no, I didn't jump first. Again, it's still saying it's below us, so maybe going up is useless. But it could be behind this area over here. Maybe going up wasn't useless. Let's find out, let's find out. Where is it? What is this? Oh god. That's a big jump. Oh, let's catch ourselves. Do we see it? Oh, it's right there. Oh, it's so obvious. The dunks. Okay, okay, we got a jumper pad. Got a little bit of rocks as well. Got a violet grass, I guess. I don't know what the violet grass is for, but we'll grab it. One day somebody might ask for it specifically. And then we'll already have some in stock. Perfect. Let's get some geosigils out here in the ground. Not that we really care about the geosigils, but also like why not? It's just there. Perfect. And one more to find, so let's just teleport home again, and we'll jump. We'll jump one more. All right, let's play.
Campaign, please, let's focus more on the new features and new content than, oh, the 6 is now a 75 and so now it's overpowered and so you should play it now. Please, let's focus on the new fucking content. The end game beta, okay, here we go.
Because where we're at right now is just, we're moments away from end game beta going, and I think that's, again, as Joe talked about earlier, that's the first time that we're really doing this kind of a test, and it's part of the soup tasting, it's part of that, do we need more salt, do we need more pepper kind of thing.
All right, give me a taste. Oh, God, I gotta sit down.
But we're feeling really good coming off of all the other tests that we've had. Like, again, we've had the ability for people, a lot of people, to play from prologue to epilogue, and that's that. But one of the things that's hard to capture is when you think about endgame, when we talk about people who play for hundreds, if not thousands of hours in the game, it's really hard to get that kind of testing because you get, okay, you're playing a beta, you can play for a couple of weekends, you can play for a couple of weeks,
Excuse me.
you're not necessarily putting in 1,000 hours or
breathe.
whatever, right? And so
Breathe, Asmon.
we wanted to
Yeah, there are things that become problematic as time goes on. It's kind of like what I was saying about like sound effects. Whenever you hear a sound effect and it's really cool, and then like you hear it for the 780th time, and it's not as cool anymore. It's just fucking annoying. So you really want to make sure that you're avoiding that.
There we go.
Seinfeld's too old for you, bro. I went back and I tried to watch Seinfeld again. I was like, oh, maybe it's adult jokes. I didn't understand them. I watched it as an adult. I still thought it was stupid. It's it's funny. I think Jerry Seinfeld's a fucking funny comedian, but I never liked the show.
You're barely an
I fucking
adult.
always breathe my fucking liquids, man. Oh my god, it's so annoying. I have the same shit happen to
I
me
am
every
lying.
fucking day, man.
have a time to just soak in that experience. Okay, there's no campaign for you.
Yeah.
You're just all you have are the things that'll be available to you in endgame, whether it be nightmare dungeons or Helltide or PvP or
Yeah,
the
whatever.
Whisper bounty
Signia.
system.
Oh,
Like these are
great.
things that are we want to make sure can really hold up for players that once they finish the campaign, and that's a really exciting place to
I
be.
actually really like
I
the
said,
aesthetics of the treasure hoarders.
have a game that's been
Basically
playable
like,
from prologue to epilogue
rogues
for
and
so
thieves and
long
such.
is
They're
really
pretty cool.
different for me. It's really refreshing, and it's really been about how
like
we continue to polish and
no
bring it up and bring it up
irony,
and bring it
the
up and find those
aesthetics
iterations.
of
And
this game
it's been also
is
really
great.
interesting that with the philosophy of
Game has
Diablo team to be able to
amazing
talk to
aesthetics.
players quarterly. Historically, I haven't done that. That's not something we've done. Is sort of brought them along on the journey.
Yeah, I think that the updates that the Diablo... I feel like the Diablo team in general has done a really good job. I'm going to be honest. Like, I really think that they've done a good job. I can't think of anything that was, like, problematic or, like, stupid that I didn't like. I honestly think that they've done a very good job so far, like, talking to people and keeping people up to date.
Let's try to find this underground mines.
And testing has tended to be like, here's a multiplayer beta.
Is it
for
one of the
someone who
dungeon
hasn't
areas?
been,
Is that what
hey,
it
we're
is?
going to get beta testing on the whole game. We're going to
This
let you soak in it for
Lost
100
Valley?
hours and tell us what you think, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so that's
Spire,
really
Solitary,
been
and
informative
Lightworks.
from a design perspective.
beautiful
But that's
name.
kind of where our big
Drove.
push is now. Like we feel good about where we
Much.
are with the campaign. A lot of it is implemented. A lot
So
of videos
let's just
implemented.
go
We're
to
sort of
this
finishing up
epicenter here and
the
this
cinematic
one
part of the
seems closest,
story.
so we're just gonna jump in.
We're honing in on
Alternatively,
making
I think
sure the game's
jumping
where it
in
is.
from the
We're making sure
tallest
that we
point
have
and just
things
gliding
in
down
place
would
that
probably been a really good
we've
idea
already
as well.
started, season 1 work, and those sorts of things.
Well,
So we
this
can be
looks like it
prepared for
works.
when the players finish, that they're ready to be able to, have more there waiting for them when they finish the campaign and
That's good.
and the first season starts. So
Ooh,
I don't know,
spooky.
was-
Am I gonna
was there
die
a
if I
big-
jump down here?
Feeling
like I
good
am.
right now, honestly.
I think that's a great summary. I mean, it's a very exciting time for Diablo 4 and it's an exciting time for the
Oh, this
franchise
is-
overall.
This is kind of cool, but
That's crazy.
fly back out.
Sanctuary. Hail. Lilith.
That was really cool. That cinematic was great. I liked it a lot. Talk is meaningless unless it's specifics of the products. Well, yeah, it is. I mean, they're talking about specifics in a lot of
Way to
cases. Yeah.
insert the mine.
They always said
was
that,
not
don't
paying
they?
attention
Well,
to the
I
quest.
feel like in general, as somebody who has been paying attention
This
to
will
Diablo
quest.
4, I think that they've done a very good job keeping people up to date with what's happening with Diablo 4.
I think there is actually
the last year,
different quests.
Keep in
There we
mind,
go.
we've gotten more updates for Diablo 4 than we've gotten for
There's
Path of
the quest I
Exile
need
2.
to do first.
Keep that in mind. So I feel like they've done a good job. Absolutely. Blizzard cinematics are better than their games. I feel like everybody was expecting, the Warcraft movie to just be like a, 1.5 hour Blizzard cinematic. So yeah. Do you think that they really care, or is it a marketing strategy? Well, what is making a good game a marketing strategy? Because then people like playing your game? Yes. So I don't care if they're pretending to care for marketing or not. If they pretend well enough, then I'm happy because that means they'll actually do it.
Yeah, that was
Running your games is
weird
kind of
thing
silent on how
to
PoE 2 is going. Yeah, and that's fine. That's another way that you can do it. It's not like you can't do things that way at all. But personally, I like
meat.
hearing the updates and knowing what's going on.
I'll take that meat.
There's a shift in business focus lately. It's all about customer feedback and now incorporating that into your product. I mean, yeah, I wonder fucking why. I think that's because they've had so many flops because they didn't do that next time. They're testing endgame. It's badass. It gives me hope. Yeah, I do hope that there are some things that, like, endgame boss fights that they don't test until the game comes out, because I feel like it's really exciting whenever people actually get to that point and they can see it for the first time. Whether I thought that was really cool whenever
Kinda
they did that in
burnt out.
Sepulchre in WoW, and I think that's really cool whenever they do that anywhere.
I think I'm gonna
Whenever
take a
it's
break.
like
I am
everybody can
very
experience
burnt
it for the first time, like Elden Ring, for example. It's like, oh shit, okay, like now finally people are seeing what it's like to kill the last boss or something like that. Yeah, some cool stuff keep hidden. Yeah, keep as much hidden as you can, but if you ever have to make the decision, do we want to ship this broken or test it? You probably want to test it. what exactly they put in the game that the community asked for. I think that the main thing that they put into the game is more customization. I think the open world is something that people wanted to see. And I think also more robust talent trees were important. The different types of different classes. I know people wanted to see Druid and, Necromancer, you've got to keep in mind, was an afterthought with Diablo 3. It wasn't even added until like over a year after the game.
What are you talking about? Yep, I'm not interested in storytelling. Oh yeah, it was blatantly obvious. God, I'm surprised that they even felt the need to explain this. It reminds me of in the Mafia, you would order because you don't want to have like on record you saying yes, kill Al Capone or kill Freddy. No. So when somebody was like the guy who wants to kill Freddy or who has to kill Freddy, he's like, all right, hey boss, do you want me to kill Freddy? Al Capone would be like, no, but then he will raise his eyebrow, and that meant yes. But on record, he said no. Don't kill Freddy. Freddy's a good guy. You fucking idiot. All about that eyebrow. As soon as we're done talking, I'm gonna stop playing for a while. Okay. I'm feeling super burnt out. Besides, I only needed to stream 3 hours for the promotion anyway, so we definitely hit the 3 hour mark this week. So I'm gonna take a break.